Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengal fan on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, repping the Bengals here. First, I want to apologize for the delay in getting another video up. I've been very busy with work. It seems like we have one deadline after another. I'm not complaining. In this environment, to be busy and working is a good thing. But I do apologize for the long delay. Let's bounce right into this and get going. First, I always ask you, just if you don't subscribe, please subscribe to this channel. It's all I ask for. Obviously, we're trying to build this channel up to the level of the previous channel I was on. So let's make that happen. First of all, it was a shame that we did not get AJ signed to a long-term contract and free up that franchise tag, and most importantly, free up some money to where we could pay Mixon or somebody else. Most of the things I'm reading, this was completely COVID related. They wanted, from everything you're hearing from AJ, he wanted to stay and sign a long-term deal. Remember everything Katie Blackburn has said. They really do recognize what an asset AJ is in the locker room, and they wanted him to stay. So hopefully this is something that they can work out after the end of the season. Obviously, we're stuck with the franchise tag now, which is good pay for AJ, but it doesn't give him a lot of security. But our history with players on the franchise tag is that they go after the season. Michael Johnson left after his tag. Zeitler left after his tag. I'm hoping that that's not the case here, and I think the only reason the tag wasn't worked out and an extension wasn't done was because there was so much uncertainty with what was going on with the season. I wish the league had pushed out the deadline on the franchise tags, but they didn't, and that's the way it goes. Still need to extend Mixon. If you watched my last video, I talked about how important it is that we lock up Mixon, AJ, and Burrow. Think about the Cowboys of the 90s. Look at how much fruit they were able to produce with Aikman, Smith, and Irvin. We need to do the same thing. We really, really have the future is bright if we can make that happen. So hopefully that makes that happen. Today we had a Rodney Anderson I saw was on the PUP list. The other guys that were on the PUP or the non-football injury list I wasn't really concerned with. Most of them are expendable crew members, you know, red shirts from Star Trek. They beam down to the planet below who's not coming back, a main character or a red shirt. I see them as expendable players. But Rodney Anderson he has shown some real bursts. His problem is health. As Herm Edwards always says, the most important ability is availability, and he needs to show that he's going to be available. But when he's sitting in that running back room, he's as talented as anybody in there. So hopefully he can get off that list and try to make the team. We don't have as many undrafted free agents, so there's not as many competition in different positions as there usually is going into camp. I don't know what we're going to wind up with. I know football is watching baseball right now very closely. Obviously, basketball starts tonight. They're going to be watching that. And I don't know if we're going to have expanded rosters, expanded practice squads. You're going to need to have key positions where you have players that are kind of out of circulation. I kind of see that with the signing of Brandon Allen, in that I think he's our quarantine quarterback. I really do. I don't know that signing was as much a statement about Jake or about Finley, or if it was about needing a quarantine quarterback. So we're going to see. I also saw that we're bringing in an extra kicker. I think that our team is kind of thinking ahead to having key positions ready. So we'll see how that plays out. This is ever changing. You're looking at baseball. You know, basically the Marlins having to go put on this, you know, to the sideline for a week. Phillies too. Phillies will start playing this weekend. I think the Marlins are scheduled Monday, but they basically played their opening series and they haven't played since because of the COVID. So we're going to see what happens. It's an interesting development. I think ultimately we're going to see practice squads and maybe roster sizes, or having an alternate roster or a backup roster. We're going to see teams having flexibility in keeping players. I think things change as things progress. We got all our picks signed. I was waiting for that to happen. I was also not going to do a video till next week because Monday is the final opt-out day. We haven't had any major players opt out, so and I'm hoping that's the case, but we'll know on Monday. That's the put up or shut up day for the NFL if you're going to opt out of the season. But we got all our picks signed. The thing that bugged me this week was Adam Schefter tweeted out, talked about Burrow's contract, but then said, has to throw this in. Oh, but Bill Polian says he's going to struggle this year. First of all, who cares what Bill Polian says? He said Tyrann Mathieu, a honey badger, wasn't a leader and wasn't going to be good, and now he's one of the highest paid players at his position. So I didn't really care, but it just shows me how they couldn't just report that Burrow signed and got almost $24 million within the first 2 weeks of the contract. I mean, those were the headlines, and instead they dragged the headline down with the Bill Polian. They can't. The mainstream media, ESPN and NFL, they just cannot bring themselves to say anything positive about this team. It really is kind of disheartening. But let's focus on the real headline, which was Burrow got signed, T. Higgins was right behind him, and Burrow got paid. I mean, to get the entire signing bonus, the guarantee up front in $25 million, yeah, you get to move out of your parents' basement now. Talked about the Brandon Allen signing, talked about the last day to opt out. I do think we're going to see a season regardless. Things are going to change. It's a fluid situation. But as I've said on previous videos, the NFL has the most manageable schedule. 16 games, currently over 17 weeks. If it was made, scaled down to 12 games, they can quarantine in certain cities. They are not going to give back that TV money. They can make their weekends a huge TV event. If they had to, they could go a Thursday night game, a Friday night game. They could go doubleheaders Saturday and Sunday. They could cap out and max out that TV money, and that's what they're going to do. They are not going to let that slip away. So we are going to see a season. It might not be the season that we're all expecting to see, but we are going to have a season. And then the last thing I want to talk about was a great headline today with Chad Johnson talking about being the hardest guy on the Bengals was, I think, John Sheeran's headline. He revealed that he's been taking Viagra when he was playing because the league didn't test for it. So he didn't take steroids, but he took Viagra. And he had some funny things to say. I'll let you read up on those. But Chad is always a pleasure to hear from. Love Chad Johnson. I still urge the Bengals. This is one of our best ambassadors out there. Who was fighting the mainstream media when all the Bengal bashing was happening before the draft? It was Chad Johnson. Who was arranging to have Dunlap hosting Burrow at his restaurant in Miami? It was Chad Johnson. This guy is by far our best ambassador. Why we can't have him on the payroll in some capacity? Heck, I'd rather have him as our backup kicker. He could be a wide receiver coach. Like I said, public relations guy. He's savvy with social media. There's got to be a way to get this guy on the payroll. Love Chad. Let's get him on the payroll. And lastly, you can see I've got my home Burrow jersey just to kind of get you caught up. I did purchase a Color Rush Burrow, so I have that one. And then I picked up a few interesting T-shirts that I wanted to share. This was one. It's a social distancing one. It's a social distancing Ohio style, and it's got mix and shoving a brand to the ground. That was kind of interesting. And picked up a Baby Yoda from the Mandalorian, Baby Yoda Bengal shirt. And then lastly, got this at the end of last season, but I don't think I shared it with you, which is my I Am Bengals Baby Groot shirt. So wanted to share those with you. If you guys got anything, put it in the comment section. Let me know what you guys are getting, pulling in, memorabilia-wise, any of that. So with that, I want to wish everybody stay happy and healthy. We'll get another video up. I promise you, subscribe to this channel where you will get the same previews and recaps that you got when I was on that other channel. So please subscribe. And with that, I want everybody to have a happy and healthy week. And hoo-day, everybody. Take care.